Good morning. I'm Liz Ryan, Administrator for the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and I am really honored to be here. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be with so many colleagues who are committed to creating communities where respect and compassion prevail. Thank you. Thank you all for what you do every day, and thank you for taking the time to attend this conference. Your presence here is evidence of your dedication. I'd also like to thank the Bureau of Justice Assistance for hosting this conference, and in particular, I want to thank Associate Deputy Director Betsy Griffith, there in the front row, and also Sunny Schnitzer, who have worked together to really put on this amazing event. I'd also like to thank BJA Director Carlton Moore and also Deputy Director Tammy Gregg. No single agency or organization acting alone can end hate crimes. Together, we must collaborate, and I'm grateful that we're partners in this work. So now it's my great privilege to turn the microphone over to Ben Mizer. Mr. Mizer currently serves as the Principal Deputy Associate Attorney General and is the department's third-ranking official. In that capacity, he supervises 13 of the department's components, including all of its civil litigating and grant-making components. Mr. Mizer has served in a number of senior leadership roles in his many years of service at the department, including as Acting Associate Attorney General, Acting Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel, Acting Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Division, and Counselor to Attorney General Eric Holder. He has also previously served as General Counsel of the United States Office of Personnel Management and as the Solicitor General for his home state of Ohio. In addition to his career in public service, Mr. Mizer was a partner in private practice, specializing in appellate and complex litigation. Ben Mizer is a good friend to both OJDP and BJA. He's a Justice Department veteran who deeply values the work of our nation's juvenile and criminal justice professionals. Please give a warm welcome to Principal Deputy Associate Attorney General Ben Mizer.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for showing up at 8 a.m. In the early shift. And thank you, Liz, for your kind introduction. I also want to, as Liz did, thank Carlton Moore and the Bureau of Justice Assistance for putting this conference together. I'm sorry I haven't been able to be at the whole week, but I know that it's been a wonderful opportunity for learning and collaborating with each other. This inaugural conference has brought together grantees of the Justice Department's hate crimes grants, which includes law enforcement agencies, states, community-based organizations, and national civil rights organizations for important discussions on best practices for investigating and prosecuting hate crimes, supporting the victims of hate crimes, and preventing those crimes and other hate-based incidents. I also want to take a minute to thank Houston Police Department Senior Officer Jamie Bird Grant, daughter of James Bird Jr., and Judy and Dennis Shepard, the parents of Matthew Shepard, for being part of this week's conference and for their strength and advocacy for so many years after the murders of their loved ones. It was an honor to meet the Shepards earlier this morning. I remember vividly when both of those heinous crimes were committed in 1998. I was almost exactly the same age as Matthew, and like him, was a young gay man living in a small college town at the time. So Matthew's murder in particular struck a fearful chord in me, but thanks to the Bird and Shepard's families' commitment and advocacy, as well as the advocacy of so many people in this room, Congress passed and President Obama signed the Matthew Shepard and James Bird Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act 15 years ago. That law gave the Justice Department some of the most important tools it has today. So we can both acknowledge how far we've come in the last 26 years, but also we have to recognize how much more work remains to be done for everyone in this country to feel safe. The latest FBI hate crime statistics released just on Monday demonstrate how much more work there is to do. There were a record number of hate crimes in 2023, and we unfortunately know that hate crimes are underreported. Nearly 30% of all reported hate crimes were anti-Black or African American. Anti-Latino hate crimes increased from 2022, and there were a record number of hate crimes based on the victim's sexual orientation. There were also a record number of anti-Arab and anti-Jewish hate crimes, with increases of 34% and 63% respectively. And anti-Muslim hate crimes increased by 49%. Yet, the numbers alone do not tell the full story. Behind each of the 11,862 hate crimes is a traumatic or even tragic story of intimidation and bigotry. Hate crimes instill fear in communities and undermine our democracy. The Justice Department has and will continue to use all the tools at our disposal to combat hate in this country. That includes prosecuting those who perpetrate these terrible crimes. Earlier this month, for instance, the Justice Department charged 2 leaders of the Terrorgram Collective, a transnational terrorist group that operates on the digital messaging platform Telegram, where they promote a white supremacist ideology. Among other charges, the defendants are charged with soliciting users to commit hate crimes against those in the United States and abroad that they deem to be enemies of the white race, with the goal of igniting a race war. But prosecutions are not the only tool available to us to help promote public safety. We also provide financial support to communities through grants to combat hate. Those grants go to a range of recipients, including state and local law enforcement and prosecution agencies, community-based organizations, and civil rights groups. I am thrilled to announce that this year, the Justice Department's Office of Justice Programs is awarding close to $30 million to law enforcement agencies, states, community-based organizations, and national civil rights organizations to fight the rise in hate and bias crimes and incidents. Over the last 4 fiscal years, the department has given over $100 million in anti-hate crime grants, a number that demonstrates our strong commitment to this work. Through the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Program, we are awarding nearly $12 million to local law enforcement agencies and prosecutors' offices to investigate and prosecute hate crimes, as well as to collaborate with community partners on outreach and education to targeted communities. For instance, the University of Colorado Boulder's Police Department and Center for the Study and Prevention of Violence will launch a project across the whole University of Colorado system. That project will educate students, faculty, and community members about hate crime prevention and intervention, and will train campus officials on strategies for addressing hate crimes and hate-based incidents on campus. The Ninth Circuit State Attorney's Office in Orlando, Florida, will use its grant funds to establish an online complaint system for hate crimes to be reported, vetted, and then referred to the proper law enforcement agency. It will also provide mediation where appropriate for nonviolent hate crimes and provide trauma-informed mental health services to the victims of hate crimes. Through the community-based approaches to prevent and address hate crime program, the department is also awarding $7.6 million to 11 different community-based and civil rights organizations. That money will fund projects dedicated to developing and implementing comprehensive hate crimes prevention and response strategies. To give an example, the Faith-Based Information Sharing and Analysis Organization will implement a hate crimes preparedness program for approximately 350,000 religious congregations so that they can better prepare for and mitigate the threat from hate crimes and incidents. The No Al Odio project will work with Hispanic communities in California to understand and report hate crimes through a comprehensive education and outreach strategy. And the Global Peace Foundation will use its funds to work with Black and African immigrant populations in Maryland to train the participants in conflict resolution and to help build trust between members of the community. To improve hate crime reporting and also access to services for victims, the department is awarding $1.1 million under the Jabara Hire No Hate Act state-run hate crimes reporting hotlines. That funding awarded to the Washington State Attorney General's office will support the launch of Washington's statewide hate crimes and bias incidents reporting hotline by investing in partnerships with LGBTQ+, Latino, Black, immigrant, and refugee organizations. Both California and Illinois received hate crime reporting hotline grants in fiscal year 2022, and both states now have active hotlines for victims to report incidents in multiple languages, to speak to trained professionals, and to seek support and trauma-informed services. Also, through the Jabara Hire No Hate Act funding, the department is awarding $2.5 million to its research and analysis project that evaluates FBI crime data and hate crime reporting patterns within and across states, as well as the variation among states on the reporting and laws regarding hate crimes. The department is also providing $650,000 to its project on NIBRS data and police service calls with a focus on identifying hate crimes. And through the Emmett Till Cold Case Investigation and Prosecution Program, we are awarding $1 million to the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office to continue its work identifying, researching, and cataloging Jim Crow cold case homicides, as well as unsolved homicides of LGBTQ+ victims, particularly those who were killed during the late 1970s. Through a previous grant under this program, the DA's office is investigating nearly 175 racial terror homicides in New Orleans and over 300 cases statewide. In addition to all of these grants, the department is also combating hate by providing resource centers. This includes the launch of a new coordinated hate crimes resource center through a $2.7 million award to RTI and RTI's subrecipients, the Eradicate Hate Global Summit and the International Association of Chiefs of Police. This resource center will serve as a hub for resources, training, and education, and it will support practitioners who are countering hate crimes and supporting victims in local, state, federal, and tribal jurisdictions all across the nation. Additionally, in June, through funding by the department, the Shepherd Bird Hate Crimes Training and Technical Assistance Program announced the launch of a website that provides resources for law enforcement, prosecutors, community groups, and the public on how to identify and investigate, prosecute, and prevent hate crimes, as well as on how to address the needs of victims and communities. We know that a key tool to combat hate and support victims of hate crimes and incidents is research. To that end, the department is providing $2.5 million in funding for 3 research projects to advance the understanding of law enforcement responses to hate crimes and the needs of survivors and survivor communities. The study will generate new information to improve the, where did I go? The studies will generate new information to improve specialized law enforcement bias crime units, the use of LGBTQ+ liaison units to respond to anti-transgender hate crimes, and outcomes for survivors of hate crimes and their communities. This research will also lead to the development of new recommendations and guidance to help practitioners and policymakers improve responses to hate crimes. In addition to these grant awards and this research, I'm pleased to announce 2 new trainings. First, the Justice Department's Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention is releasing a new youth hate crimes and identity-based bullying prevention curriculum designed for middle and high school aged youth and teachers, counselors, and others who work with those youth. The curriculum was informed by 19 roundtable discussions with youth across 7 states, along with pilot testing in many communities. It's designed to empower young people, to change attitudes and behaviors and make them less likely to either engage in bullying or to be the victims of bullying. The curriculum is also designed to educate adults who work with youth about the potential use of online technologies to break down the cultural barriers and bias. The department is dedicated to continuing to provide more resources to address hate crimes, bias incidents, and bullying among youth. You're going to hear more about this training from Director Ryan in a little bit. Second, the department's Office on Community-Oriented Policing Services, or the COPS office, is launching a new training on investigating hate crimes. That training was developed in conjunction with the International Association of Chiefs of Police, or IACP, and other subject matter experts. It builds on the training that the COPS office released in 2022 on recognizing and reporting hate crimes aimed at line-level officers. Both of these trainings are available at no cost to state and local agencies. So I've talked about the importance of the Justice Department's prosecutions and grants and trainings related to hate crimes, but another critical pillar of our work is engagement with the communities that we serve. The department's Community Relations Service, or CRS, is working with communities across the country to work with communities who are victimized by hate crimes and by hate incidents. Using facilitated dialogues and programs, CRS is in communities, responding to threats of violence against community members because of who they are and where they are from. And I'm grateful to Justin Locke, the director of CRS, who is here with us this morning. CRS is also involved in many of the United Against Hate programs that the Justice Department launched in all 94 U.S. attorneys' offices across the country. Those programs connect federal, state, and local law enforcement with communities to increase community understanding and reporting of hate crimes, to build trust between communities and law enforcement, and to create stronger alliances to prevent and combat hate crimes. Over the past 2 years, U.S. attorneys' offices, in close partnership with the FBI, CRS, the Civil Rights Division, and others, have held over 550 United Against Hate events nationwide with over 18,500 participants. Just yesterday, the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI here in Birmingham hosted a United Against Hate symposium at Alabama A&M University for students and faculty. As the many programs and tools that I have mentioned this morning underscore, the Justice Department remains committed to combating and preventing hate crimes and bias incidents. The partnerships that we have built across the country and continue to build with everyone here in this room and who have attended this week are indispensable to that work. I'm grateful to stand with you as we work together to reject bigotry that is used to justify hate-fueled threats and violence and that attempts to divide us. We are stronger together. Every person deserves to feel safe in their community, and we will continue to fight back against hate in all its forms. With that, I will hand it back over to Director Ryan to talk about the bullying training. Thank you.